All right, let's get this show on the road. How's it going, Chad? What do you got? Company? Or are you are you being assessed a fine?
That's Jonathan's son.
Oh, there you go. He had. I thought somebody was coming up and giving you a ticket.
No, not yet.
No. So we are ready to go this week once again with Chad Summers and Jon Hardoon for Saratoga. Good. Get rid of Delmar. Didn't like Delmar. By the way, quick analysis on last week, and I want to start off with last week, letting, in case you guys forgot, John, you beat Chad in your head-to-head matchup.
I did?
Yes, you had Stiletto Boy.
He owes me a soda.
Over Senor Buscador in the San Diego handicap. You had a side wager, so good going there. And the result.
Didn't have Stiletto Boy. He had Trampolini, and the horse beat my horse by like a neck as they were racing against the ambulance.
And what was it? Royal Ship won that race, right? The San Diego handicap.
Listen, yes, a bunt down the third base line for a single is the same as a smash up the middle. So a win's a win.
Yes, but a pop up and a line out are also the same exact thing.
Okay, you won, Chad.
And then in the Breeders' Cup Challenge race, the Bing Crosby, Bob Baffert's horse, Shaz, was a dud. American Theorem got the win. He ran that 7 out of absolutely nowhere the week before. I mean, the race before, and he followed up with another good race. So I don't know where that came from. So,
yeah, but to be fair, and we don't know this when we do this on Thursday, but Saturday the inside at Delmar was completely dead. Every horse that won made a big wide looping move. So Shaz was on the inside. Defunded was on the inside. All these horses got beat by horses that made wide.
Why does that happen sometimes?
They say it has to do with the tide, since the track is 2 blocks from the ocean. Wow. But I don't know.
That's weird.
It just, yeah.
Okay.
So, and before you bash those horses, you should know why they did what they did. That's why you have to keep records.
Well, the sheets, did they take that into account?
They tell you when a horse is wide, that's what the big V is, and the Y means they were on the rail. But you don't know if the rail was good that day or outside was the place to be. You have to keep personal records. You want to be a success in this game, you have to put time and effort in.
Got to be organized.
No shortcut.
Jackie's Warrior kicked ass again in the Alfred G. Vanderbilt. That was at Saratoga, and also. At Saratoga, you had Epicenter in a 4-horse field, beating Zandon.
And the early voting was the big disappointment. He found himself on a loose lead. You know,
yeah,
I thought
what happened to him? I remember he's got the lead and he did nothing.
Nope, he didn't run.
He wasn't even a fast pace.
No, he had no excuse unless Chad knows of one, which is a possibility.
That's why you're on the show, Chad. Speak.
Well, Chad Brown, who I guess got his master's in public speaking, he said that the reason early voting lost is that even though the times didn't look fast, it was more of a tiring track than you would think. And then in the very next sentence said, well, Zandon got beat because he was too close to a paceless race. Because that's very impressive to have 4 horses and have 2 completely...
2 excuses out of 4 horses.
2 out of 4, and he lost. Well, Epicenter was. So what about Epicenter? Was that? I don't know what his sheet line was, but was that?
He ran a 6.
That was good. That tied an all-time high, so that was good.
Not quite as good as 5, but he did run a 6.
Not as. Said that again.
Cyberknife's 5.
Ah, yes. Nothing as good as Cyberknife. Not on this show. Okay, so, and then in the other one that. From California, that other sprint, the one that we just kind of brushed by, which was the American Theorem, since that was a sprint British Cup race. So American Theorem going to have anything at all for Jackie's Warrior, Chad?
No.
Well, I was on the phone with Joe Bravo's agent on Monday, and he was having lunch with George Papadromo, and they're certainly excited about the prospect of running in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And why not? The horse is 2 for 2 since the debacle at Turfway Park, and that's what dreams are made of. In fact, the second place finisher in the Vanderbilt, knee deep in snow, who finished second because somebody needed to finish second, they're not planning on running in the Breeders' Cup as well. So, as of now, no, nobody can beat Jackie's Warrior.
All right. Now, what we're going to do is what we usually do. We're going to have 3 races to handicap. One is going to be for our free audience. If you would like our other 2 picks, you have to go to our Patreon page at Prime SN. You got the link that's on our channel. It's easy to go on our page, and it's $5 a month. You can't beat it. So those 2 races that are going to be behind our paywall will be the Saratoga Derby Invitational Stakes. That's race 11 at Saratoga. And the 5th race, which is the Lure Stakes. So those are the 2 races on our Patreon page. But we're going to get started first for everybody out there with the big one. And Chad, I believe, did you consider this to be the biggest Breeders' Cup Challenge race of them all?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a stallion making race. There's so much history behind the Whitney, what it represents, where it is, the litany of good horses who have won or participated in this race before. It's the staple older male division race here. Now they have the Jockey Club Gold Cup, which is moved to Saratoga. It'll be on closing weekend, but doesn't have the same kind of splash and hoopla for what this race means. Last year's winner was Nick's Go. He parlayed a win in the Whitney into a win in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and there's a few horses in the race here on Saturday that are looking to kind of follow suit. And I mean, the race starts and ends with Life is Good, because Life is Good is similar to Nick's Go and has some distance questions. We think he can see out the 1 1/8, which is the distance of the Whitney. Can he see out the 1 1/4? And like Brad Cox said to me the other day, with Nick's Go, he was aided, he thinks, with the Del Mar surface. And certainly they think that Life is Good might be aided by the Keeneland surface, which plays kinder to speed horses. It's a shorter stretch and less kind of taxing work on what the horse has to do at the end of the race. But Life is Good needs to move forward. This is an important race. I mean, he freaked the other day. He got a really, really low rag number. He got a high buyer figure. But that race was 7 furlongs, and this is 1 1/8. And he certainly is facing arguably the toughest field of his career come Saturday.
Yeah, even though there were only 6 horses in the field, I mean, you can make a case for 5, and even the long shot is trending in the right direction. So this is a really it's a big, not only a big race, but it's a good competitive race. It's 1 1/8. It is $1 million purse for 4-year-olds and up. Let's start with the 1, John. American Revolution. And American Revolution, who ran second in the Stephen Foster to Olympiad, who is also in this race. He ran a 6 in that race, ran 2 5s last year, and then started this year with an 8 in the 6. So at 5-1, what are you thinking about American Revolution?
Well, he certainly has a shot to get in, but I don't think he's good enough to win. A 5 or 6 is not going to win this race. You're going to need to run better. But he does have the rail. He gets Louis Sayers, and he's 5-1. I'm using him as one of my exacta hookups.
Yeah, the Pletcher horse, Chad, is 1 for 1 at Saratoga. That race was last August. He ran a 9 in that one, but ever since the 9, he's gotten better pretty much since then. So what about American Revolution's chances at 5-1, Chad?
He was a young and inexperienced horse. When he won here last year, it was the Albany. It was his 3rd career start. He had just won the New York Derby at Finger Lakes in his race before. So it's a long way from that to eventually becoming a Grade 1 winner like he did in the fall. The thing with American Revolution is if he runs, then Life is Good is not a lock. I have a feeling that he's going to scratch. I don't think they wanted to draw the rail. I would think that they'll wait for another race at another place and go on. It's owned by the same connections that own Life is Good. And while this is a very, very important race, and we've seen Peter Brand and Chad Brown run 3 horses in a Grade 1 to try and win the trophy, if they feel like Life is Good is the nuts, then I have a feeling that we're not going to see American Revolution on Saturday. If American Revolution runs, then my confidence in Life is Good wanes a little bit because they're not all in on Life is Good. So the scratch time at 10 a.m. on Saturday is going to tell me a lot. Regardless, I don't think American Revolution can win this race. He ran very, very well. He took the improvement from the first race into the Stephen Foster like we thought he would. But he's not as talented as the big three in this field, I don't think.
All right. Does have a grade 1 win. That was the Cigar Mile in December at Aqueduct. Ran a 5 in that race. All right. The 2 is Hot Rod Charlie, John, a 9-2 shot. So right there with American Revolution odds-wise. Doug O'Neill, Flavion Pratt. So you got the combo there. Last year, look at the line. 11, 9, 7, 6, 5, 4. I mean, you can't do better than that. This year, it's 7, 7, 6. So what about Hot Rod Charlie coming back from Dubai, finishing second at the race at Monmouth in June?
Well, he puts blinkers back on. And listen, if American Revolution doesn't run, then I would use this horse underneath. But again, I don't think he's good enough to beat Olympiad. And, he does get Pratt back, blinkers go back on and all the rest. But I don't think you're going to see the 4 that you're going to need to win. And you probably need better than a 4, to be honest with you. So for that reason, I would use him underneath. I don't think he's good enough to win.
So is this a matter, Chad, of, because, I mean, Hot Rod Charlie has been a big-time horse. And is that just shows you how much even better the horses are in this race that Hot Rod Charlie could be at 5-1?
No, it shows the blatant disrespect that they have for Hot Rod Charlie that they've had his entire career, despite the fact that he was second at 96-1 in the Breeders' Cup, the fact that he ran an unbelievable race in the Belmont Stakes last year. He ran great. Every time you put the bridle on that horse, he runs his eyeballs out. He's had some heartbreaking defeats. He's due that staple win, that big win. He's already a Grade 1 winner from the Pennsylvania Derby last year. People are underestimating this horse. I would take Hot Rod Charlie over Olympiad every single day of the week. The interesting thing with Hot Rod Charlie here is, are we going to see a repeat of what he did in the Belmont Stakes and hook up early and do all the dirty work and come up a little bit short? Or what is the strategy with Life is Good to his outside? And we know how brilliantly fast Life is Good is. Chuck can be as fast as he wants to be. What is the strategy that they use? But, from a rooting interest, then you add into the odds interest and everything else. I mean, Hot Rod Charlie's got to be the sentimental pick of everybody that's watching this race.
By the way, he's also earned $5 million, more than anyone else in the race. So for a horse they have no respect for, he doesn't need their respect. He'll laugh all the way to the bank.
And he went to Haskell.
And I think, listen, he got to shoot, but I think the other important thing about this is you talk about it's difficult to get a sheet line like that. It's almost as though Doug O'Neill calls and strategizes with the sheet guys on how to get the best possible sheets.
Okay, number 3, Zoomer. This is the big long shot that ran a 5 last year, a 6 in 2020, 37 starts. And then, unfortunately, a 9 is the best we've seen from Zoomer last race. At least he's going in the right direction. 13, 12, 11, 9. Any chance Zoomer could end up third?
No. He was claimed out of his last race for $50,000 by Mark Cassidy. I guess he made a good claim, but he has 0 chance.
Jed?
The horse is owned by Gary Barber. Gary Barber has made millions and millions of dollars as a studio head, producing movies in California. They're hoping for a beautiful ending to a wonderful claim, but it's not going to happen.
The 4 is Olympiad, 2-1 shot, John. And the Olympiad's got 2 4s in his last 3 starts. This horse has won 5 straight races. None of them were Grade 1 races. He's got 3 Grade 2 wins and a Grade 3 win. So what about Olympiad, John?
He can't lose. I love this horse. He's making a forward move. He made a quarter-point move on the sheets last time out. And this is about as powerful a line that you could get. I know he's 2-1, but I'm going to beat Life is Good, who's going to be 3-5. And I think this horse is a lock in this spot.
Chad?
I mean, he's the story of patience paying off, right? I mean, taking your time and not being in a rush with the horse and letting them develop at their own rate and not chasing the Triple Crown and, picking and choosing your spots carefully. It has led to this wonderful performance by Olympiad, who does appear not just on the sheets, but, visually to be getting better and better and more confident. Junior Alvarado rides his horse with such a degree of confidence. We saw it in both the last two races at Churchill Downs. But this is the toughest field he's ever faced. And I just feel like Life is Good and Hot Rod Charlie are better horses than him. And at the end of the day, they will finish ahead of him. Now, that's taking nothing away from Olympiad. He's a very, very nice horse. But I think Olympiad gets exposed on Saturday. I don't think he's the winner of the Whitney.
All right, so John and Chad butting heads on Olympiad. Boy, this Olympiad, and in those 5 straight wins, never worse than third in any of those 5. Crazy. And it's not like, this is like he's been in second at the halfway mark in every one of those races. So it's not like he's on the lead in all of the races. The 5, as you mentioned, is Happy Saver, another Pletcher horse, John Velazquez combo at 8-1, coming off a 7 last time out in the Metropolitan. Good line numbers for Happy Saver. He's got all single digits over the last 5 races, including a 5 and a 6. What about Happy Saver with good odds at 8-1, John?
He's okay. He looks to be like a notch slower than other horses, but you're being rewarded. He's 8-1 on the morning line. I could see making a case. Personally, I think he's better around 1 turn than he is around 2 turns, even though he has a big win at Saratoga 2 years ago around 2 turns. He has a shot. He's a little slower than Hot Rod Charlie. He's a lot slower than Olympiad. That's the problem with him. And if American Revolution runs, he's slower than him as well.
Won the Jockey Club Gold Cup, the Grade 1 race in October of 2020, Chad. And this is a horse that has never been out of the money. 10 for 10 with 5 wins. You're trying to make some money if you could. Are you going to try to do it with Happy Saver?
I'm confused. Look, he's a late entrant in this. He wasn't planning on running here. He was planning on running in Saudi Arabia all along, and then the morning they were supposed to get on the plane, something came up, and he ended up not making the trip over there. He's okay. He does everything right. He's been a very oddly spotted horse over the last 3 years. He doesn't run very much. I guess maybe he's doing well now, so they want to take a chance while the chance is good. But the fact that he ends up entering in this race just makes me double down that I don't think American Revolution is going to run, and they're going to try and pick up second or third with this horse, thinking that Life is Good is the one. I don't think he's talented enough to win, but I do think that they think he can pick up a piece of the pie, and that maybe he's been working well. That's why they enter him here.
All right, 4 straight second-place finishes, including 2 Olympiad and the Alashiba. And the last is Life is Good. John believes could go off at 3-5. Right now, a 6-5 morning line. Another Pletcher horse, Irad Ortiz Jr., coming off a 2 in his last race, the Grade 2 race at Belmont. That was actually almost a month to the day. So, and that was right after the Dubai race, first race back since the Dubai race. So, what about Life is Good, John? Is he beatable?
Well, of course he's beatable. He ran 2 good last time out. He ran a 2 on the sheets. The chances of him repeating that 2, I think, are slim and none. He's reacting. So if he reacts, well, he could run worse than the 4. That's why I ended up on Olympiad. And he's, going to be 2-5 or 3-5. I'm using him for second. I don't even know if this is really a distance he wants. I know he won at 1 1/8 at Gulfstream 3 races back. But the way he stopped in Dubai, I know it was 1 1/4 but I just think this horse is better around 1 turn. And if you're beating him this Saturday off of the big race that he ran last time out. I don't like him.
Yeah, majority of his races, Chad, are definitely a lot shorter than 1 1/8. Life is Good. Is he the best horse in the field?
He's the best horse in the field, yes. But there's no doubt that
that doesn't mean Saturday he's the best horse in the field. He's the best horse in the field.
No, it doesn't mean he's. No.
If you get to pick one of these horses to own, obviously you're going to pick Life is Good. That doesn't mean he's the right bet.
Look, I think the benefit for Life is Good is it's a small field. He shouldn't get in traffic trouble. The thing in Dubai, okay, I was there. We picked against him when we did the show, me and you, Greg. I thought he was beatable in Dubai, especially going a mile and a quarter on that demanding track. A mile and an eighth plays a little bit more to his strengths. He's been working here. He's had his last 2 works over here, and his work last weekend. He worked a half mile, but it's not about him working half mile. He galloped out a mile and an eighth. Okay, Amelia Green, who's an unbelievably talented exercise rider, who's been on his back every single day since he got moved from Bob Baffert's barn to Todd Pletcher, and she knows him so well, could not pull him up. And he actually galloped out faster than he breezed, which is almost unheard of. And he is just sitting on the word go. I understand what you're saying, John, that he's supposed to react off the 2, but at the end of the day, I don't think he was asked for anything at all in the John Nehru. I think he was just the easiest of winners on that day, even while Irad Ortiz, his normal jockey, was suspended. And I just feel like he has all the talent in the world, and I think if he wins this race, he quickly becomes the favorite for the Breeders' Cup Classic, and that's certainly what Windstar's hoping for.
Yeah, it's like you have to you pick a winner that's not, if you like somebody other than Life is Good, you have to take a win bet. But to expect Life is Good not to finish in second or first, I mean, it's just going to be really hard to believe that that's going to be the case. So forget about exactas without Life is Good, right, John?
Well, I guess.
So who you going with?
Look, I like Olympiad. I'm betting the 4. So, and if the 1 runs, I'll bet 4-1. Obviously, the 6 could get second, and if the 1 doesn't run, then I'll bet 4 with 2 and 6. I like the 4 the best. That's the way I see it.
The 1 doesn't run. What was the other one?
4. I'll use Hot Rod Charlie.
The 2.
4 with 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chad?
As Gene Hackman said in the movie The Replacements,
Here we
you
go.
have to have heart. Miles and miles of heart.
Hot Rod.
And the one thing that Rod Charlie has more than any of the other horses in this race is he has heart. And I think he's going to look Life is Good in the eye. It's going to be a battle to the wire. And I'm going to go with Chuck, Hot Rod Charlie, pulling it up because he wants it more. Life is Good's a better horse, but he hasn't proven that he can look another horse in the eye and go on with it. And Hot Rod Charlie has. So I'm going to go with Hot Rod Charlie on top of Life is Good and try and throw Olympiad out.
There you have it.
Good. Okay, so you are going to go. So you're going to go 2-6. Got it. 2 to win.
Yes.
All right. So that is going to do it for our free audience. We are going to say goodbye to you guys. And again, for as little as $5 a month, you can cancel anytime. You get to check out our shows on Patreon, on our Patreon page at Prime SN. So again, goodbye to everybody.